Hello, my name is Andre, and this is a review of the Certina Titanium Powermatic 80 dive watch. I think it's, I forget the name of it. I haven't looked it up or anything. I've had it probably about 6 or 8 months, give or take. I enjoy my luxury items and things like that. Watches to me have always been very special. It's funny, I dabble in and out of like sort of the world of wealth and privilege, primarily with my clients. I am a director of marketing, the EVP of marketing at my company. So, I'm a reasonably, middle upper class person. For whatever reason with watches, even though at some point I probably will own a nice Omega Seamaster or something like that. I try to keep it limited, not have too many, etc. So this one was a little bit of a gamble. Years ago I saw a Hamilton Seamaster, I believe, that was an automatic that's been discontinued. It was a Jazz Seamaster that didn't have numbers. It just had little pointy, the lines for the hours, etc., were sort of these long, tall diamond looking things, or daggers. And that one had a translucent back, and the manufacturing quality of it was just exceptional. And that watch has since been discontinued, but I think the rate on that was between $400 to $700 or so. Had the Powermatic 80 movement, and it was just wonderful. But it was black on silver with a traditional stainless, and I sort of fell in love with it. And that's when I started giving the Swatch Group 80-hour reserve movements a chance. And so I've had several, and honestly, none of them have met my standards. So the Mito is wonderful, but I don't like that as a date and time. I didn't like the positioning of the date, and it just has a really crappy bezel. The predecessor to this was good, except it just had these really large, chunky spots for adjusting the date time. The bezel. And this is a really nice, fine 120 click bezel. It's ceramic. It's very elegant. For titanium, it's exceptionally durable. So I kind of consider this my working man's bling watch. And then I also had a Tissot C-Star 1000 stainless that I also like, but it was just frankly just too blingy and too much like a piece of jewelry. Whereas this I consider like kind of a rock solid piece of sort of working man's bling. Like, not inexpensive, not overly expensive, just a great day-to-day every man's wearing watch. And like in my world, I have like simple luxuries. I have a bunch of vintage BMWs, things like that. And just somehow these watches speak to me. And I don't mean it in any way to be cheesy, but this watch is the first one out of everything I've had that just has really, really spoken to me. All the Seikos I've had, they've been good, but not particularly durable. This one is exceptionally comfortable. I saw another video where the guy was complaining that the lines were too sharp on it, and I haven't had any issues at all with it. And it's good, great looking. It really takes a beating. I've put it through absolute hell. You can see I have a scratch here on the bezel, on the crystal sapphire. So that's going to be replaced soon. I will say that there are some light scuffs on the backside of the bracelet. You can see how much I beat that up. I literally wear it every single day. I mean, that's literally like some food particles and stuff. So I should have cleaned it perhaps before this video, but I don't want to portray it as something that it's not. It's just a good, clean, tight working man's bling. So I haven't serviced it. I haven't done anything. Runs about 8 seconds fast per day. So, in maybe a month, it'll gain a minute or two, or every 2 to 3 weeks. And as of right now, I just reset it so it's on world time down to the second, so I track that. So when I get the bezel replaced, I'm going to have them just slightly adjusted. I will say my Tissot C-Star with the same movement was accurate to literally the second. It was amazingly accurate, and that was shipped from Swatch Group Tissot that way. Whereas this one, for whatever reason, is running 8 seconds fast, and that's okay. But I haven't had any inconsistency or anything at all with it. I find it to be very comfortable. It fits me very well. I am a, taller guy who's fairly tall. I think I have one and only complaint ever. And, everything else is to be expected. Again, titanium is a little bit softer, so it scuffs up. And my only complaint is that these are called the pawls. I don't know if you can see those little teeth, and that's how this micro adjusts close. I love the design of the clasp. I like the buttons. I like how that comes undone, but I will say that sometimes it's basically a safety feature that if you press it really hard, these will come out. These pawls are just quite weak. So I don't know if you can see, but I can basically pull that out. And that is literally my only complaint. And I don't know if that's just wear and tear or what. I could have my watchmaker potentially just file out a little bit of material on these pawls. There are those little teeth to just have it a little bit tighter. And that is literally my only complaint about the watch. I love the design. I love the clasp. I love the quality. I can't believe that it's 300 meters deep in design, which is wonderful. I love the design and the backside of it. I'm not particularly into watches that have a translucent back anymore, just because they always get dirty and, sweat and grime and things like that. Nobody really needs to look at that. A movement is a movement, and if it looks good, it looks good, and nobody's going to see it anyways. And, this thing has just been rock solid, and it fits my sort of level and approach to life and classiness and all those things exceptionally well. Again, as a man with vintage cars, as a man who's a skier and an explorer and constantly tinkering with things. And this watch, in a lot of ways, it added, this is the first, normally I have sort of a hollow feeling when I purchase a watch. It just, and then I just get rid of them. I try to not get rid of anything. I try to love everything that I have, and I'll get rid of it if I don't. They call that sort of the minimalist approach. And this watch, I can't believe how good this watch makes me feel. It's hard to explain. It just meets and checks all of my boxes. So I'm gonna just set it down here and put it on just so you can kind of see. And again, I was just, I don't know, scrolling through something and an ad or something came on, and I just remembered that I'd seen a YouTube review where the guy was complaining about it. He just said it was uncomfortable. And I don't feel or think that at all. But you see that? That's that. If I flex, if I have this too tight here, see that? So that's me flexing, and I am able to get that safety feature to kick in. Maybe that's a good thing, but it just feels just a little bit light for me. And, I have several wedding rings. I also kind of have my wedding ring match the watch, which I love as well. And again, I'm not in any way trying to be some douchebag, but I just love how it comes together, how it feels, how it looks. I love that it's titanium. I love the weight. I love that I do pretty much everything in it. I do take it off at night when I go to sleep, and that's really about it. And I work on cars, I fix things, all sorts of things. And I find myself in precarious positions where I'm sort of like, boy, I should take off my watch. And half the time I remember to, and half the time I don't. And it's just been stellar. So I can't wait to see what this watch brings. Perhaps in the future I'll order a new band. The new crystal from my watch repairman, he told me his cost is only $30. Which is exceptional, and that's the beauty of it. These Swatch Group high-end watches are really quite wonderful and reasonable and durable. You just don't really need much else. And like I said, at some point I'll get an Omega, probably a Planet Ocean at some point, which is a 60-hour reserve. It's going to be an exceptionally similar watch to this, and that's just a bucket list thing. And I don't know why. It doesn't, if I were to ask myself if it makes sense versus this absolutely beautiful watch, the truth is it doesn't. The truth is this watch meets all of my needs. And this watch is sort of like somewhere between a Toyota Land Cruiser or a Lexus, something like that, even though it's a Swiss made. It's sort of like a high upper quality vehicle or tool or whatever. And again, I can't say enough about its design, durability, its features, etc. So thank you.